Well, support of our music programs is something that we all need to be successful as music educators, and the Princeton Music Boosters that we just awarded that recognition to is a perfect example of that. The next award is very much the same. Again, my name is Brian Stevens. I currently serve as the president-elect of the Ohio Music Education Association. Each year, the OMEA Board of Trustees awards an Outstanding Administrator Award to a deserving school administrator who has demonstrated the importance of music education in their school and community. The Outstanding Administrator for 2023 is Dr. Douglas Marrah, Superintendent, retired, of Ashland City Schools in Ashland, Ohio. Dr. Marrah is joined on stage by his nominator, Marty Krall, District Fine Arts Coach and Music Department Chair of Ashland City Schools. Dr. Marrah graduated from the Ohio State University in 1988 with a Bachelor of Music Education degree and began his teaching career in Florida, where he met his wife, Jennifer. In 1994, Dr. Marrah accepted a teaching position in the Ashland City Schools, where he taught every district orchestra class, expanding the program and regularly achieving superior ratings at state OMEA events. It was during this time that he also found the time to perform with the local professional orchestra, assist with the marching band, and obtain his administrative degree. His nominator, Marty Krall, writes, "Once a licensed administrator, most professionals move on to the task of leadership and leave their undergraduate vocation behind. This was just not true for Dr. Marrah. After stints as principal both at Green Local Schools and back in Ashland City Schools, he obtained his superintendent's license and secured a job as the superintendent for the Minerva Local Schools in Minerva, Ohio. Each step along his journey, Dr. Marrah never forgot his musical roots. And as principal and superintendent, Dr. Marrah bolstered the arts program. He ensured that the arts were non-negotiable. You're going to hear that term a few times. Non-negotiable in every building with which he was. This included arranging schedules to benefit choral and instrumental programs, renovating performance spaces, and securing funding so that programs could not only survive but thrive. After receiving his doctorate in educational leadership, Dr. Marrah found himself back in Ashland once again, this time as the superintendent. From the Band Booster Executive Board at Ashland High School, Dr. Marrah never stopped nurturing his passion for music, not because it was his job, but because he knew something our students realized as they matured. Music can be the place you feel the most at peace, the most creative, and the most joyful. Martha Buckner, Executive Director of the Ashland Symphony, writes, "Dr. Marrah's intentional support of the arts ensures that students from their first day of school to their last know the value and reward of an arts education and continue to give back long after they graduate." Dr. Michelle Muro, Fine Arts Consultant of the Tri-County Educational Service Center, Dr. Marrah is sometimes referred to as the singing superintendent because you can find him playing his guitar at school board meetings. Never encountered that in my experience. And in the board office, as well as the high school, where he has been known to sing happy birthday to his daughter's high school friends. If there's an opportunity to incorporate the arts, he seizes the moment. Finally, from Donna Collins, Executive Director of the Ohio Arts Council. When I met Superintendent Marrah, I asked him to tell me why and how he was so successful in supporting the arts and bringing along his school board to do the same. Simply put, he said, the arts are non-negotiable. It is with great pleasure that I award the 2023 Ohio Music Education Association Outstanding School Administrator Award to Dr. Douglas Marrah.
Okay, first of all, I did not expect all those kind words, so I just need to recover from that. They did not share any of that nomination information ahead of time. I'm probably glad that they didn't, but wow, thank you very much for everyone. I brought my baton, and do they still sell these really cool Mallard cases? I think I got it 25 years ago. It's lived in my office from the day I became a principal. But I'd like to thank you, President-elect Stevens, for this wonderful award. Congratulate and appreciate the OMEA officers for their work. Congratulate our 25-year award winners. Can we give them a round of applause, please? And the Princeton Music Boosters. Wow, that's, I've tried to do that as superintendent in 2 districts, and that is, they've figured out how to herd cats to win that award. That's wonderful hearing the information this year. That's absolutely incredible. Please give them a round of applause. Yes, this truly is a great honor to receive this award today, but I believe this is a reflection of how active the arts are in the Ashland City Schools. And today we have Mr. Kroll here, the nominator, Mr. Diedrich. He is a band and arts teacher. We have Mrs. Carol Kinney, who's here, and they all reflect the greatness of how we present arts to kids. Whether it's Cameron and Marty doing the right things for kids across the board, and it's video arts, it's visual arts, it's band, choir, orchestra, they all support each other. Or if you've ever been to a concert that Carol Kinney puts on, and with her 1st or 2nd grade kids, and explains to the parents where all the origins of the music, and the kids all know what's going on. This is what music education is about, is sharing the arts. And I never thought that I was doing anything that was different, because my favorite spot to hang out was down in the band room at the end of the day, in his office with whoever was left of the directors. And oh my goodness, we've built a great relationship. So thank you very much, gentlemen, and Mrs. Kinney for being here. Appreciate that. I want to thank my wife. We have 4 children. Our daughter Amanda lives in Nashville. Cool place to go if you like music. Our daughter Katie lives in Charleston, South Carolina. Our son DJ is in sales in Findlay. And our oldest daughter, Ashley, is living in Central Florida with her husband, Jamie, and our granddaughter, Ellie. That's a pretty important part of this conversation. I probably wouldn't have retired if Ellie wouldn't come along, but that's a different story. Really, I feel that serving with the great people in the arts are what brings us together, what helps us understand what we do and how we take, and I've said from the beginning, it's a combination of academics, the arts, and athletics. That's what builds the whole experience for kids. We don't just present one to them. When I started as a musician, I played tuba. I used to haul my tuba back and forth to school in a wagon. And then when I moved back to Ohio, we lived in New York at the time. I went to Ridgeview Junior High in Columbus, nearby here, and Centennial High School. I had great experiences there. Went on to Ohio State as Marty shared in his recommendation, and had great relationships, as Brian and I spoke about earlier, with Dr. Gillespie, who was a great mentor. Actually helped me get my position in interview at Ashland City Schools, which was a wonderful thing to happen. Dr. Paul Robinson was my mentor and studio coach on upright bass and electric bass. What a wonderful experience. I have to say again, if I wouldn't have taught music in Florida, I probably would have never got married, because I didn't intend to get married. I was loving my life in musicianship until I met my bride, and she's obviously out there now is such a wonderful person and has done all the work. So I can do things like build relationships as she's home with the kids. But really, in terms of the successes, I'm just going to hit one success that Marty hit on. But our 1996-97 high school year orchestra, that group was performing and warming up the state orchestra contest at Port Clinton High School. That group was so good musically, they played so well together rhythmically, and they were so finely tuned with their ears because we rehearsed so much that all the kids that were there, we know how large group competitions work, right? All the students that are working the event, they're gathering their friends and bringing them into the rehearsal room. I can still remember that moment. They had to hold the doors in the auditorium because their friends were pouring in, and that group they received straight ones, but it was not me. It was a great group of kids and how well they worked together and how much like being around each other, which is such a great experience for life. As I jump onto my principalship at Tuslaw Beech Grove Elementary School, I bought a set of congas on wheels, and I would wheel it around and I'd play guitar and mandolin and have people sing with me. They play congas, some better than others, and we had a great time. As I moved back to Lincoln and Ashland City and moved on to my superintendency in Minerva, I had a wonderful opportunity to, as part of our construction project in Minerva, to build an auditorium. And remember this, as you're involved in a construction program, an auditoria is always meant to be an auditorium first. A cafetorium is a cafeteria first. We made it as best as we could working with the state of Ohio, an auditoria that had wonderful sound. And that made a big difference for those kids because guess where they performed before that? In the gym. A lot of schools, that's all you had. Your gym was your gym and your auditorium. What a great gift to have the opportunity to do that. Moving back to Ashland, and really what is wonderful for me, continue that model of the academics, arts, and athletics, and really starting to understand that we had to work together to make the arts non-negotiable. And one of the first things we did when I met with Marty was talked about at the end of my first year, and this was my 12th year as I retired in December. Our art show had really lost a lot of the cohesiveness in the community, but it was because we had declined the participation of our visual artists as well as groups. And he was the first person to agree, let's do something about that, let's make that better. And that next year, it was wonderful. And the parents came and they wanted to see their kids perform, and they wanted to see their kids' art. It really turned around on a dime that year. Thank you so much for that. And I know one of the first people that brought her choir, and I think I went every year that Gerald Kinney's choir sang because they always sang so well in tune. And being an orchestra guy, pitch is pretty important to me. I move on to Ashland and have the opportunity to build an auditorium that Marty referenced. And when the Ashland Symphony played there after their first performance, the conductor sent me a text message and said, Archer Auditorium is an acoustic marvel. Well, I would stand on the stage of our previous school, McDowell Auditorium, at the old high school and play my mandolin on stage and tell the architects that I wanted there to be the same reverb in the hall. And they said, we don't know what you mean. They took their iPads out and recorded it, took it back to their sound engineers, and they said, hey, we got the reverb to 2.7, which is the same as Carnegie Hall. Can you live with that? I said, I think I can live with that. And it was wonderful, and it still is. One more story, and I'm gonna wrap it up, I appreciate it. I remember Marty before the first concert, I said, I have really good news for you, Marty, but really bad news. The really good news is you can hear every note every student's playing up there in your band. And the bad news is what? You can hear every single note every kid's playing in the band. But what, yes. Not many bad notes with his band though, no. So one of the things that when you think of the opportunities you have, I have been more than lucky in my life. And yes, when you become a principal or a superintendent, you can show up with a guitar and mandolin, and people don't stop you when you show up to play Happy Birthday, or you just want to play songs with a group or visit a classroom. But most importantly is how we integrate the arts and how we get groups of people together. And that's the best example of where we're at now. And it's not the work that I did, it's just I got to be part of it. And the work that our teachers have done. Truly amazing. And I believe that at this point in time, I am leaving the auditorium in excellent hands. But the most important part when you look at education and administration and leadership, you have to make a connection to how you do things. And one of the things I shared with the Minerva Board and the Ashland Board is I see any educational leadership opportunity as being the conductor of the orchestra, being the conductor of the band, and how you bring people together. We all know that, right? If you don't lead right, if you don't teach right, if you don't have the group playing as an ensemble, you're not successful. That same transition we applied to academics, and guess what? The academics got better. We applied it to music, and boy, are we fantastic. And I invite you to mentor people as musicians. I invite you to mentor young people in your groups, as we have every time I get the chance to play with our high school jazz band, or each year Mr. Kroll would have me conduct the Star Spangled Banner at a football game. If you are a person that have had the chance to do that, it's like driving the Ferrari and not making the payments. And I remember telling you every year. And it took me about 3 days to come down. I would be so excited after that experience. But thank you so much for everything that we've done together, and the work that Mr. Hebert has put in with the jazz band and allowed me to just show up and play and make great music with his kids. But we have to always make the arts non-negotiable in what we do, and I urge you to do the same thing. But the one thing that can help as a teacher is, if you are not sure how to get your administrators involved, is a simple handwritten invitation is really hard to say no to. Sending an invitation that invites them to come to performance, that does make a difference. And I know as a principal and as a superintendent, if anybody sent me anything handwritten, I was showing up. So one hint to take with you, and ask them for the invitation to be involved. But I really thank you so much for the special word. Thank you to OMEA, and remember to keep the arts non-negotiable. At this point in time, I am passing my baton off to Marty Kroll in very capable hands of our music department. Thank you, Marty. Thank you.